Kim Soo Hyun finally spoke. After weeks of being pointed out as the main one to blame for everything involving Kim Sae-ron, the actor made his first public appearance. And what he said ended up dividing Korea. Between tears, apologies, and statements that raised more doubts than answers, the press conference was anything but smooth. And today, I'm going to tell you all the hidden details that no one noticed during that press conference, without holding anything back. Let's go. Right from the start, what caught everyone's attention was the image of Kim Soo Hyun walking into the room. Wearing a dark suit with a visibly tired and downcast face, he looked like a different man, far from the flawless heartthrob we're so used to seeing on screen. His swollen eyes, heavy expression, and tense posture made it clear this wasn't just a formality. The room was packed with reporters, but the atmosphere felt strange. Absolute silence, suspicious stares, and a kind of tension that you could feel just by watching the video. As soon as Kim Soo Hyun stepped onto the stage, no one spoke. No one reacted. Everyone wanted to hear what he had to say, and maybe what he wouldn't say too. That beginning alone made it clear that this wouldn't be a typical press conference. And the first thing he did when he grabbed the mic was something no one expected. And that's when the most controversial part of it all begins. Let's go to the statement that broke the internet. After an uncomfortable silence, Kim Soo Hyun took a deep breath, held the microphone with both hands, and began with a sentence that gave many people chills. First of all, I want to apologize. Many people are suffering because of me, and it breaks my heart to know that the deceased cannot rest in peace. He was direct, no sugarcoating. And from that opening line alone, you could already feel the weight of the moment. But his choice of words also sparked a lot of questions. He didn't apologize for any specific wrongdoing. He apologized for making people suffer. And that left an uncomfortable ambiguity in the air. Was he apologizing for something he actually did, or just because the scandal got this far? Another thing that didn't go unnoticed was his choice to use the word the deceased instead of saying Kim Sae-ron's name. Some saw it as a sign of respect, others as a way to emotionally distance himself from the situation. Among fans, the reaction to that line was immediate. Some cried along with him, saying it was obvious how guilty and broken he looked. But not everyone bought it. On social media, many accused the actor of acting, saying the whole thing felt like a rehearsed and calculated performance to clean up his image. And the curious part is that, even with such a strong apology, he still hadn't explained exactly what he was apologizing for. That's when he moved on to the most anticipated moment, confirming or denying the relationship with Kim Sae-ron. And then came the tensest part of the entire press conference, the confirmation. Kim Soo Hyun didn't dodge the question. With a low and steady voice, he said, "I did not date the deceased when she was underage. Our relationship was like any other. We met, had feelings for each other, and over time, we broke up." That statement was made with extreme caution. He knew the biggest concern surrounding his image was the possibility of being involved with a minor. So he made sure to clearly state that the relationship only began after Kim Sae-ron reached legal age. But even with that direct clarification, a lot of people weren't convinced. The public immediately began asking, but when exactly did it start? Since he didn't give any dates or say how long the relationship lasted. Was it brief? Was it serious? He left those questions wide open. On top of that, the way he described the relationship as like any other also divided opinions. For some, it was a way to normalize things and downplay the controversy. For others, it felt cold and distant, as if he were trying to emotionally shield himself. Still, the main message was clear. He wanted everyone to know that, legally, he had done nothing wrong, and his careful choice of words made it obvious that his top priority was protecting his career, even in the middle of a scandal. What came next only confirmed that. His reasons for hiding everything from the start. After confirming the relationship, the question on everyone's mind was clear. Why did he keep it a secret for so long? And Kim Soo Hyun answered with something that left a lot of people thinking. He said, "I was always focused on protecting what I had built. I was afraid of losing something, of being harmed, and because of that, I spent too much time running and denying things." With that, he openly admitted that he hid the relationship out of pure fear. Fear of losing contracts, prestige, fans, everything he had built over the years. And that revealed something important. Behind the image of a confident leading man, there was someone completely trapped by his own fame. That moment of the press conference was one of the most human, but also one of the most criticized. For some fans, it felt honest. It showed a vulnerable side of someone trying to protect himself in a cruel system, but others saw it as a convenient excuse, used to soften the weight of his omission. After all, hiding a relationship is one thing. Hiding a relationship that might involve legal controversy is something entirely different. On top of that, he never addressed how this decision affected Kim Sae-ron. Up to this point, the entire press conference had been centered on him, his fears, his suffering, and that bothered a lot of people who felt there was a lack of genuine empathy, not just toward the public, but especially toward the person directly involved in the situation. And if, up until now, the tone of the conference was all about regret and justification, what came next completely changed the mood. mood, because that's when Kim Soo Hyun cried, and it wasn't subtle. In the middle of his explanations, Kim Soo Hyun began to cry. At first, he held it in, trying to stay composed, but as he continued speaking, his voice began to shake, his eyes filled with tears, and at one point he even wiped them away in front of the cameras. But, of course, not everyone was convinced by this moment. On Twitter and in Korean forums, the comment sections exploded with doubt. Was he really crying or just acting? And honestly, it's a fair question. We're talking about one of the best actors in Korea, someone who's moved millions with emotional, dramatic, pain-filled roles, and with perfect on-screen crying. Many people compared the press conference to scenes from Queen of Tears and It's Okay to Not Be Okay, saying the timing of the tears felt way too precise, as if he knew exactly when to look vulnerable. And when that comes from such an experienced actor, it's only natural for the public to question it. The internet split in two. On one side, loyal fans saying that only a heartless person would doubt his pain. On the other, critics claiming it was all emotional acting, a strategy to fix his public image. But while everyone was busy debating whether the tears were real or not, Kim Soo Hyun dropped another bomb. He wasn't done talking, and he was ready to go on the offensive. Just when many thought the press conference was wrapping up, Kim Soo Hyun changed the tone completely and made a surprising announcement. He's taking legal action. He stated that he's already gathering evidence and working with his legal team to sue anyone who spread false information about him and his relationship with Kim Sae-ron. The message was clear. I will take strong legal action against malicious rumors, defamatory posts, fake news, and destructive comments. This part of the press conference completely shifted the dynamic. After presenting himself as someone remorseful and emotionally shaken, he suddenly switched to a much firmer stance, and that wasn't by accident. Many people saw this shift as a strategic move to reposition himself publicly. By showing emotional vulnerability, he gains empathy. By announcing legal action, he reasserts control and strength. In other words, Kim Soo Hyun wants people to know he's hurting, but he won't let himself be destroyed. The problem is, this also sparked mixed reactions. Some understood that he was simply trying to protect his image, which is understandable, but others felt he was trying to silence critics, which came across as authoritarian, especially considering that most of the speculation only spiraled because he stayed silent for so long. The announcement of legal action made it clear that this press conference wasn't just about apologizing, it was a calculated move to turn the tide. And as expected, the Korean media didn't hold back. Major news portals covered the press conference instantly and extensively, highlighting the tears, the apology, and most of all, the confirmation of the relationship. Still, the tone adopted by the media was cautious. Korean journalism, unlike Western outlets, tends to be more restrained when covering A-list stars. That doesn't mean they go easy, but they wait to see how things unfold before delivering any hard judgments. Even so, opinion columns quickly started popping up, questioning the actor's sincerity and pointing out inconsistencies in his statements. Some journalists were more direct, saying he was simply trying to stay on top, no matter the cost. And that's the real issue here. Keeping a clean image in Korea is almost impossible after a scandal like this. The entertainment industry is extremely strict, even when there's no confirmed illegality. A single rumor can cost you contracts, endorsements, and even roles in dramas you've already been cast in. In Kim Soo Hyun's case, the challenge ahead is massive. He not only has to regain the public's trust, but also prove that he's still a safe bet for brands and production companies. And all of that depends on how fans and the industry choose to interpret this press conference. Was it a genuine emotional release or a calculated PR move? After everything that was said, the unavoidable question still hangs in the air. Did Kim Soo Hyun really tell the whole truth? The conference was long, filled with emotions, confessions, and even legal threats. But still, a lot seems to have been left between the lines. For example, he confirmed the relationship but didn't give any specific dates. He said it began after Kim Sae-ron reached legal age, but didn't explain how they met, how long it lasted, or why they broke up. And more importantly, he said almost nothing about how the relationship affected her, especially during the hardest times in her life. At no point did he show real empathy toward Kim Sae-ron, beyond referring to her distantly as the deceased. And that's where many people began to wonder, did he really open up or just say what was needed to save himself? Between the lines, what we see is an actor highly aware of his public image. Every word seemed calculated. The tears, the apology, the tone, all of it appeared carefully crafted to strike a balance between vulnerability and control. That doesn't mean the pain wasn't real, but it does raise questions about the true intent behind the press conference. As for what's next, Kim Soo Hyun is still a massive name, but the damage has been done. And in Korea, the line between idolization and cancellation is razor thin. What defines his next steps won't just be what he said during the press conference. conference. It'll be how the public chooses to respond from now on. The contracts, the invitations, the public approval, everything depends on how he rebuilds his image. For now, all we can do is watch. Because if there's one thing that's clear after this press conference, it's that this story is far from over.